and welcome to another episode of Tracy Takes On, the show that talks about all things politics. I am joined this evening by Charles, who will wave hello, and we're going to get right to it and talk about Mr. Rudy Giuliani's place of business being raided and what his son had to say about it that I thought was pretty hilarious.
Well, you know what? If Giuliani has anything incriminating on any of his devices, he must be an idiot if he didn't see this coming. You know, he knew he was under investigation. He knew it was a whole big change at the Department of Justice. And to have kept all that stuff, you know, I'm sorry, I would have deleted all that stuff off my devices, or at least got rid of my devices. The warrant was signed by a judge. It wasn't partisan. It was just an independent judge who signed the warrant. You know, and you're going after a billionaire or somebody high profile like that. I'm sure they have something on him. You know, what I'm concerned is, did he get a pardon from Trump that we don't know about? Somebody was mentioning a pocket immunity from prosecution. You know, I don't know. I would have hoped that they asked him this before they, set out on this investigation, going through all this work. If they knew he had immunity, but like I say, I just feel it was all legal, and he just got a lot of stuff to answer for. Because
his answer, that's what's making me kind of think this has got to be the most comical thing I've ever seen, because he was on Fox, and I think he knew he misspoke, and it was like he was trying to say, oh, well, I would never, it was like he was suggesting he threw away evidence, then caught himself and said, oh no, I wasn't trying to throw it away. And then he brought in Hunter Biden, who, I'm sorry, if Hunter Biden has done something illegal, nobody is going to say, don't prosecute him, because we're not going to say don't do an investigation. I'm pretty sure the public doesn't care anything about Hunter Biden, but his son just ad nauseum just kept saying, Hunter Biden. Stop. I don't know what they think they have on Hunter Biden, but I thought we went down this road where he was investigated, or his dealings with the Russian company were already investigated. So we've been down this road before. I'm just not sure what Giuliani / his son are trying to prove. If they're just trying to, well, I do. If they're trying to, put the focus on something else so he doesn't end up getting charged, I don't think it'll work. But he's got to be planning something, because either that, or like you said, he's a complete idiot for not having the common sense to delete things that he should have been deleted.
Yeah, that's the whole thing is just crazy. I mean, it's like he's trying to assert his white privilege, that, you don't have the right to do this to me, when he did the same thing to people when he was running that same office. And now, it's like karma now. That same office that he ran is coming after him. So.
But he should have known if it's a change in administration. Well, let's backtrack. He was being investigated when Trump was president. This isn't something new that just popped out of nowhere. This was starting when Trump was president. So didn't he have enough sense to know, the administration has changed, there's not going to be a cover? Did he really think,
That's
or
what I
does he
said.
really think he's innocent?
He should have gotten rid of his evidence if he had any that would uh would cause, negative impact on him. But one time he did say on the media that when they asked him about uh I guess investigation, he said he had insurance. So, I'm wondering what that insurance is that he has. Does he have something on Trump, or does he, did he have does he have immunity? So I guess we just got to wait and see.
Because I thought to get a pardon, and maybe I just don't know. I thought to get a pardon that you had to commit a crime, be charged with the crime, then the president, it had to be a federal crime. Then the president can go back and say, okay, now you're pardoned. I didn't think it applied when you were being investigated.
It doesn't say, it doesn't say that is the criteria. So I guess, so the president can do whatever he wants to do. Uh, but like I say, I wasn't aware, and then the president doesn't even have to make it aware to the public that he gave a person immunity. But, still, even if you get immunity, you still are subject to still being investigated or questioned by Congress or the FBI. And if you lie, that immunity could be revoked. So, so it's still a problem there for
Like I said,
Julia.
either he's a completely stupid, which is where I'm leaning more towards, or he just thought, I've got enough evidence on Hunter Biden again. This had already been investigated. So I'm not sure what it is he thinks he has, but I know when his son came on to do that press conference, he gave me a good laugh. And I'm so glad that he had that press conference because that day I needed it. It's like, okay, I'm not having a great day. Thank you. Thank you, Andrew Giuliani. Thank you. Thank you, because I appreciated that. He gave me a good laugh. Well, speaking of politicians that aren't so bright, Matt Gaetz. This story, I keep saying maybe XYZ is going to put him in the background, but he just keeps wanting to put himself in danger of being expelled from Congress.
Well, yeah, well, not yet expelled. He should at least be off of the committee that he's on, the Judiciary Committee. He shouldn't be on the committee that's investigating him. That doesn't make any sense. And I'm wondering, why is it taking so long to figure out how old this girl was when he was with her?
That could be several reasons. It could be one, she was actually over 18, which that could very well be the case. Or she's not cooperating. In other words, she's not testifying against him. And
Well, it
apparently there's more
doesn't
than
make
one girl.
she has a birth certificate.
She
So,
does have a birth certificate,
and
but
I'm sure they if they have her social security number, I'm sure they can investigate anything and everything about her. So,
or her real name. Let's
I,
let's let's be honest. She may not have given her real name.
well, you know what? If I feel sorry for her if she didn't, and then they find out that she lied about her name, because that's a crime. I think a felony to lie to the FBI. So,
And I don't even know at this point has she even been interviewed because I didn't hear anything. I know that Joe Greensburg, or I forget his last name, he wrote a letter basically saying Gates knew that this girl was under 18. I warned him against seeing her, but he did it anyway.
Well, I guess it just takes time to get all your ducks lined up in a row. So it's no rush, I guess, as far as they're concerned, because they're going after somebody high profile. So you want to make sure that you did it right, because you don't want that person slipping away. But
And he is not wanting to resign at all. I mean, he just keeps saying, I'm like, if I'm him, and I'm saying this not because I care what he does, he needs to just go ahead and resign right now. Just go
why?
ahead, resign, say you're sorry, do so. Because if he keeps this going, and if what his used to be friend said is true, he's not only going to go to jail, he's going to prison.
Well, that I don't think that has anything to do with him resigning. If he resigns, it doesn't make a difference. That's not gonna stop the FBI investigation. So I guess he figured, what have I got to lose? It doesn't matter. I mean, unless he gonna resign and leave the country and go into exile somewhere.
Yeah,
We'll
like
see.
Roman Polanski, just leave and don't ever come back.
Yeah, right. Yeah. I don't care what happens to them. I'm just so delighted at all the negative drama in their lives, because of the negative drama they cause people, other people, during, while they were on their power trip. And now it's all coming back to roost. That I told you, that's karma to me. And it's coming back hard. They can't keep shielding him. Pretty
Well,
soon.
apparently the minority leader in the Republican Party is saying he's not going to take him off of the committee until the charges are brought. And to be honest, I don't even think he's going to do it when the charges are brought. I think the Republican Party, they're just gone. The whatever people remember the Republican Party used to be, they're not anymore. They're gone. They're never coming back. Trump overtook them, and now they're just a bunch of Kool-Aid drinking people that will just drink whatever Trump says and his minions. And I don't even see him coming off committee unless Congress, like the whole Congress, removes him. I don't see him coming off committee.
Okay, well, we'll see. I think eventually he is. I
I mean,
think.
I hope he does. I want him to, but I don't think even if he is charged, that McCarthy is gonna just say, "Okay, it's time." I think the whole House is gonna just have
Man,
to say, "That's it."
I just don't think that he's in that much grace. I mean, it's like Trump don't even have anything to do with Matt Gaetz right now. So I really don't think, just like they took Marjorie Taylor Greene off her committees, I think if he's charged, he'll take him off the committee. I don't think he'll have any.
But there's a difference between her and him. She isn't being charged with sex crimes against children. Nobody's. I mean, as much as an idiot as she is, and she is, she's raised, think about it, she's raised more money than she did with her running Congress now that she's been out, because she's posting herself as, you know, the person that's getting bullied. I don't
Yeah, but what I'm saying is that what he's done is worse than what she's done, or
totally way
what he's accused of doing. I mean, it's worse than what she's done, and they removed her from her committee.
but
So
that was the whole Congress though. That was not McCarthy. He did not remove her. They had to vote that in, and like every Democrat voted against it, and every Republican voted for. Every Democrat voted for it. Every Republican voted against it. That's the only reason she got removed from committee. That was it. He did not remove her.
I didn't think it happened that way.
She got
We'll talk about
voted.
that next week because I'm gonna check that out
You know,
next week.
she
I
was
thought
voted.
McCarthy took her off the committee because
He
they're,
said what he did
they're
say
the
was he
only
was going to
one.
talk to her.
Huh?
He said he was
Okay.
going to talk to her, but if my memory serves me right, and I might be wrong, but I'm almost certain that it took every Democrat voting to remove her for her to get off that committee. I don't think that he said, "Okay, you got to come off."
Nah, because I mean, if that's the case, then why haven't they taken?
Why haven't they taken
Yeah,
a vote to remove that part? I don't know.
the procedure. I was under the impression that the majority leader is the one who removes a person from the committees. The
Yep.
Congress, it would take a vote in Congress to expel him from Congress.
It does take a vote for Congress to expel. It would have took a vote for Marjorie Taylor Greene, but they didn't vote on that. And I'm looking it up so I can quote exactly what I'm talking about because I want to make sure I'm quoting this right.
Okay.
From committee. Because I remember the vote when it came down, I was like, oh, yeah, this is the way I thought it was going to go. Yeah, here it is. It was on CNN February 4, 2021. The House votes to remove Marjorie Taylor Greene from her committee post. They did not vote to expel her from Congress. They only voted, and I don't know why, but they only voted to remove her from her committees.
Wow. And
Yeah.
they haven't voted to remove.
And they haven't voted to remove Gates. So if they can vote to remove her for what she did, and what he did is way worse than what she did, allegedly, then
that doesn't even make any sense.
Yep. So I knew I was right. I was like, wait a minute.
Okay.
They removed her from all of her committee assignments, but they did not expel her from Congress.
Right.
Because if they had expelled her from Congress, which is what I thought they should have did, then they would have had to hold a special election.
Yeah. Well, yeah, I know that.
But that's why she's in office, because they just voted, like I said, they just voted to remove her from her committees.
Mm-hmm. Okay.
So the Democratic Party is trash for not voting to remove him from committee.
Yeah, I agree.
Because that's very simple. Because you could at least say, oh, he's got these investigations going, and it's alleged that he's, having sex with not even if the women were over 18. You can't take a woman over state lines for the purpose of prostitution. That part is still illegal.
Well, like I say, they're investigating, and it's other stuff too. It's not just with this girl. I mean, it's other stuff that Joe was doing that he's implicating Matt Gaetz as part of the crime or knowing about, identity theft.
I just wonder what his so-called friend Joel has, who else's name he has in there. I mean,
don't
this could
know,
go as high as DeSantos. It could go as high as Trump. I mean, I'm speculating, but what else does he have?
Well, it's going to be high. When you're making a plea bargain, it's because you probably giving up something to get
And
a
I wonder,
lighter
are they gonna? I know Gates has already framed this as like he's trying to, like, reduce his sentence, but yeah, like I said, he just wanted to get caught. You had a VMO count, you didn't make it private. I'm like, are you serious? You made that public so anybody could go in there and look? Like,
Yeah.
you really? It's like he just didn't think he was gonna get caught because of white privilege, or he just didn't care. It's one, and it may be a combination of the two.
Yeah, and is he gonna survive in jail, or is he gonna come up like Jeffrey Epstein?
And if he goes to jail, will he go to one of those skill because Biden is not going to pardon him. I'm pretty sure Biden won't pardon him if he goes to prison. Then he's got to hope that somehow Trump wins in 2024, which he probably won't, or get a Republican president to pardon him. He's got
Well,
if
I'm
he
not
gets
sure.
convicted.
Is all his charges federal or are they state?
Some of them are state and some of them are federal, but having a
It's
sex with
state.
a minor is federal. Period. There's no doubt about that one. That's federal.
Well, anything state, Biden couldn't even pardon. The president can't pardon state crimes. He can only pardon federal crimes.
Right. And then if you think about it, now DeSantis, if he's governor of Florida, where these crimes allegedly were committed, he could pardon them.
Yeah, but I really don't think that DeSantis wants to do that.
That man is
All
one
the stuff
short of a sandwich. He is
if
not the brightest of bright.
I agree on that point.
I
He's
mean,
not.
I'm like, I don't, nothing surprises me about politics anymore. Nothing. I'm like,
I don't
okay.
want to go nowhere near Florida now.
It seems like they just have all the idiots for politics. I'm like, everybody, and I'm not saying this, everybody in the state of Florida is an idiot, but they're politicians. I'm like, okay, what's wrong? You all are making us in Indiana look smart. What is wrong with you all? They have crazy voting laws. They have politicians who campaign and have their babies build the wall. I'm like, okay, stop all this. So I just think, um, it's now being reported. I just saw it in the corner of my eyes. Gates is his ally, which is that friend of his. If this is more than if this is like campaign contributions, like he misused those or something, I think that's federal too.
Mm-hmm.
So
Yeah,
he may have two federal charges against
yeah,
him.
yeah.
Pretty sure. But I just think the best thing for him to do would be to resign and just say, you know what, I'm not resigning because I'm guilty, and maybe that'll make it go away. But if what,
It ain't going away. It's not going away.
yeah, and he probably thought with everything that was happening with George Floyd and this new killing that's going on and the other one that happened, he was gonna be put in the back pages. But he is still front page
Yeah,
news. I know he's got to feel like,
back
can
on
I
the
catch
front
a break?
page. Yeah, he's back on the front page. He was off the front page for a minute, but yeah, he's back on it. Him and Giuliani.
And I just wonder, not that I want to keep speculating in this, what role does Trump have in this? Because if he knew, which I don't think he would, I don't even know what he had known. Because
Like I
apparently
say, Trump
Gates was
is
asking for a blanket pardon and wasn't
yeah,
doing it. Did he
right.
did he tell Trump, hey, I got these rape charges coming out. I may need your help. And did he write some kind of pardon down saying, okay, he doesn't go to jail for those things? That's what I'm wondering. Because he could have very well did it the day he left. There's
State.
nothing, there's no law that says that he can't do it. He could have did it that last date that he held the presidency. To,
I like I say, I agree with you, but I mean, it would seem like you would have to disclose that you have a immunity if the investigators ask you, did you get immunity from the president? Because uh, why would that would just stop the investigation then? I mean, there's no need in having an investigation if we know we can't prosecute this
if it
person.
was given. So um
I'm not sure that he has one, and I would be surprised if he did, because then that would show incompetency on the investigator's part.
yeah, because if he has immunity, then I'm pretty sure he asked for it. I know that. I don't think Trump was dumb enough to grant it.
Well, like
Um,
I say, Trump has distanced himself. He wasn't. Trump has not been around Gates or Giuliani.
Oh no, now
See,
Trump was defending Giuliani. He did a whole interview. It was a phone interview where he said they're attacking him, and
well, yeah, he's gonna do that, but I'm saying it's like Trump has been holding these events, and neither one of them have been at these events. So it's some, yeah, he's saying that's illegal. I mean, because he know that's all about himself. They they want Trump, because I'm sure they would gladly use Giuliani as bait if they can to get Trump.
well, we know Trump ordered him to. Well, allegedly, he ordered Giuliani to do that. I gotta keep saying allegedly, but
Yeah, but it's yeah, we know, but what proof do you have?
that's the problem. Um,
So wait and see what that insurance is.
yeah, and I keep wondering, moving into our next subject, uh, your state, Arizona, is doing a recount. How
Yeah,
is that going? Or have they finished? Or I
oh
know what they
shoot,
hope to
it
accomplish, but
probably gonna be months before they finish it. And then and then so what? It was a recount. I think done. The ballots were counted 3 times, and all of a sudden, this group come to partisan too, because it's no Democrats in there counting the ballots. It was really no security. Uh, when it first started, it was like this auditing agency doesn't even know how they were supposed to proceed in counting the ballots. I mean, they had uh, a reporter reported that they had black, it was either black or blue
yeah,
markers.
blue markers.
Yeah, which could be used to alter the ballot. So it's really no secure. And then it wasn't any security there because they wanted the police wanted $175,000 to provide security, and the uh, the auditing agency, they were asking it be done for free. And then Trump was trying to even get the National Guard to come in there
So he
and do the
completely forgets who's
security
president. Why would the National Guard come in?
to provide security, because it was no security there, and it's the okay. The bottom line is this audit lacks integrity. It doesn't have any integrity. So whatever findings they come out with are it's just going to be just a waste of time, just trying to perpetuate the lie.
Yeah,
That's
and
all.
the company that was hired to do this, like you said, they're partisan, they're a pro-Trump group. You know what they're gonna find. They're gonna find that Trump what, but it's not. It's like, do the Arizona Republicans realize this isn't going to change anything?
No, they're like I say, they're just doing this just to perpetuate the lie that they've been told. They have a guy counting that was at the January 6th insurrection, and plus he had been, I don't know if he was fired or resigned, but as a police, but he was on some called a Brady list, which I think that means he can't get any law enforcement jobs here in Arizona. I believe I would have to look that up, but he's in there counting ballots, and it's questionable. You have to wonder, were what kind of background check was done on these people that are counting the ballots? I mean, it's they have an agenda, and that agenda is that Trump won the election. So you're going in there with that belief that Trump won the election. So so you're gonna make it happen with these ballots, uh, and it's not any integrity. Even Republicans are saying, that this is stupid to even do this. So
It's like they keep is and I blame Trump for, well, no, I blame them for being stupid enough to waste. I'm hoping taxpayer money did not go to fund this foolishness.
it did.
Oh gosh. That's what makes me so angry about these states like Arizona, even states that Trump won, like Indiana and Texas, and all these states he won, just doing idiotic wasting. That's a waste of taxpayers' money. That money could have went for anything else. It's like, okay, if you think the election should have went to Trump, you pay for the recount.
Well, it it wasn't the campaign that called for uh, this audit. It was the Arizona Senate
Well,
that called
that's what I
for it.
mean. If the
Yeah,
Senate
so that's
wanted
taxpayer
a
money.
recount, then they should have forked over the money out of their own pockets and stopped making taxpayers pay for this kind of stupidity.
Yeah, I mean, in the real world, yeah, I agree.
Because your taxpayer money is paying for a bunch of nincompoops that are going to lie and say that Trump won, which we know he didn't. It's not going to change. Biden got inaugurated on January 20th. Can they just deal with it? Your person didn't win. There's another election coming up in 4 years. Get prepared for it. I've just never seen a group. I mean, there's sore losers, and then there's these type of people. It's like, deal with it. You lost. You lost.
Well, yeah, I agree with
And they just sit there and they come up with these idiotic things. And then his supporters, oh my gosh, his supporters are still saying it was something wrong with the voting machines. I see no proof. I still haven't seen any proof.
you. Well, and people are getting sued over that. Sidney Powell, I think Giuliani,
Fox, oh,
and
AON.
yeah, they're getting sued over the voting machine. So I guess that's why they're trying to prove that the voting machine tallied the ballots wrong. And
And how
but
many states have had to been forced to do multiple accounts? Georgia, multiple counts. Georgia did three. Arizona did three. Michigan did a couple. Pennsylvania. It's like,
it's inner city. It's the inner city where they're counting. They're not counting the whole state. They're just doing like here. They're doing Maricopa County, and it's because of that's where uh, people of color make up more of the inner city population. Out there in the
you mean to tell me it has a racial undertone? And I'm saying that is as much sarcasm as I can say.
sure. I mean, like in Georgia, they're not counting all of Georgia. They're probably just counting Atlanta or somewhere where it's a lot of black people that they think that there were irregularities in the election. But that's just like all these voting suppression tactics. They're now getting approved for the next election and just making it harder for people of color to vote for 'em. When you got long lines in the inner city, but you go out in the suburbs and you got enough uh, polls to that you wouldn't have long lines to wait in. You got to wait 8 hours to vote, then something's wrong. Or I think some people even waited longer than that. That's pathetic, and the whole world sees that.
But they're so proud of themselves, and they will tell you, "Oh, this isn't about racism. This is about ensuring the vote." It's like they're cutting off their nose to despite their face, because it's like they're completely discounting poor whites that come to the polls, not just blacks and browns in the inner city, which that's the majority of it, but they're forgetting that there are poor white people that aren't going to be able to vote. They're forgetting about elderly people that are not going to be able to stand in line. It's like they just said, okay, I'm going to cut my own nose, but that matter. I'll just
Well,
cut it off. And
we'll
they rather
see.
do that instead of come up with some policies that could actually help you win the black vote, help you win the Hispanic vote. But no, they don't want to
Yeah.
do that because ultimately the Republican Party is just, they're a bunch of racists. That's just what they are.
Well, they can't come up with any policies now because they aren't in charge right now. But that's why they're coming up with all the negativity. And then I think Warnock's seat is up for a vote in the next election next year.
Yes.
So hopefully, he's able to retain his seat, and maybe, they get a couple more seats. If they get a couple more seats, then Manchin won't be as important as he is now.
They
Him
just let
holding out.
Manchin just bully them. I'm like, I'm sorry, but the way they let him do them, I'm like, y'all need to stop being scared of that man. If he make a mess, do like they did with the stimulus checks, send Kamala Harris to West Virginia, get her on the radio, and tell her to have everybody in West Virginia call him and watch his vote change.
Well, yeah.
I
Well,
mean, it's
like
like
I said,
it's like
we'll
they're
see.
scared of him, and I'm like, this dude has no power. Just force him to vote the way you want.
Okay. I'm sure they thought of this. So
I mean, they did it when the $1,400 stimulus mansion came out and said, "Oh, the check should be like $400." They immediately sent Kamala Harris to West Virginia. It was like
mhm,
immediate. She was on the radio a couple of days after that.
mm.
He voted for it, and then said he never said that he was for the 400. I'm like, we heard you. We absolutely heard you. But I wanted to talk about the next thing. Um, Apparently, Tim Scott, Joe Biden, and Kamala Harris don't think that there's racism in America. And I want
Well,
to talk about
the,
that.
the most people don't even know what racism is. They use a word that they don't even know what it is. Racism is just an idea. Any word that ends with ISM is an idea or a belief. You got capitalism, you got Nazism, you got fascism, you got racism. This country was built on a foundation of corruption and racism. And it was built that white people would run this, which they still do. I mean, they make the laws, they control the military, they control the law enforcement, they control the money, they make the money. Uh, so people of color aren't aren't in charge of anything. And they're still trying to hold on to this racism. They're making these suppression laws. Uh, uh, they're trying to bring down the police, bring down a notch, but I don't even know if that's going to happen. I really don't think it's really going to happen. And I looked at this police reform bill, and I don't have much faith in it. I don't have about as much faith as I have in the civil rights bill. It's just it's just nothing, you know. And they weren't saying that it wasn't racism. They said it wasn't, America wasn't racist. That's a whole different term.
See,
But I
I
guess
guess I had
my
to.
thing is, you can't have, how can you have racism, a systemic racism, and not have racists? That's almost like saying, you know, you, how can you have capitalism but you don't have capitalists? You know, you still have racists here. Like I say, they run they run the judicial system, they run the prison system. You know, they pretty much control everything, and it was built on race. I mean, they even built slavery into the Constitution. You know, to say that you'll never get rid of racism, because you would have to get rid of an idea. You can suppress an idea, but you can't kill an idea, because somebody will still think this because it was thought of.
I'm going to take the opposite turn of what you just said because I thought, man, these three people are a bunch of yahoo fools. First of all, Tim Scott, when he was talking, he was describing things that were rooted in racism, how he was profiled by the police, how he was stopped. And then for him to turn right around and say, America isn't racist, is he joking? He just literally, in his response to President Biden's speech, he literally describes racism and then turns right around and says America isn't racist. I don't know if that speech was intended for him to give, because it's like the Republicans said, okay, there's only three black Republicans, so we're gonna just pick any, meeny, miny, mo, and whichever one of y'all come up, you do it. I don't know who wrote that. I don't think he did, because he had to know that was a contradictory statement. He had to know. There's no way he could have not known that was contradictory. He's outlining racist things that's happened to him, but then he turns around and says that's not racist. That had me so infuriated. And then Harris speaks. She shouldn't have said anything, to be honest, because all she really would have had to do is say America has a race problem, and I would have been fine with it. But nope, what did she do? Well, America isn't racist, but I think she said America isn't racist, but it has a race problem. Isn't
Well,
that?
well, you know, okay, you're saying America is racist. I mean, America is just the name of a country. You know, you're saying everybody is racist. That to me, if you say America, but
No.
you have racist people, you still have racist people here.
I mean, I think that I would have felt better if she said, yeah, America has racist. If she had just said the country was, I mean, I know America, everybody in America is not racist. I know that. But the way she framed it, I had a whole problem with it, because it was like, okay, it was like she was trying to have it both ways. It was like she's trying to say, oh, America has this problem, but it's not racist. Well, institutional America is racist. Look at the justice system. Look at, like you said, the courts, the justice system, the military. There's so much, there's so many races in each of those institutions that racism seeds itself into all of those institutions. Look at the report that the military or Department of Defense just issued about, soldiers being discriminated against because they're black or they're trans or what have you. Those kind of things really exist. And for her to just, to me, I guess maybe I took it wrong, but it was like she was trying to have it both ways. And I'm just like, you know what? I'm not having this today.
Okay, well, you know, like I say, it's racist controlling the system, and you know, like, okay, you don't have to say the N word to be a racist. You can be the nicest person in the world and still be a racist. Okay, and you know, some people don't even think they're racist, but when they tell you their beliefs, what they believe in, when they're having down south, when they're reenacting the Civil War and playing Confederate soldiers and stuff, that's because you're holding on to racist views. You call it your heritage. That's the word they use. This is our heritage.
And they don't
And
realize their heritage is based off of like the Confederacy lost. You do know they lost, right? Like,
well, obviously they didn't lose because they're still in power. The idea still exists. If anything, black people are the one that lost. They were the ones who helped fight that war and then
yes,
came back and were subject to all kind of discriminatory laws, that were made against them. The Jim Crow laws, the vacancy laws. Just it's like it just hasn't changed. I think we fight the wars to hope that America could be the country that it should be, and it never happens. And it
no,
still hasn't happened, and they're trying to backtrack. That's what to me that's what MAGA was all about. Make America great again. By doing all the things that Trump has done, especially in law enforcement. But it seemed like I kind of give it to Biden on that he's trying to undo all the damage that Trump did, because it's like the DOJ right now. I see like they're on a road trip and they're going to all these police departments, inner city police departments, and they're investigating uh, crimes. They were waiting for the Chauvin verdict, because they said if he came back not guilty, well, they were going to arrest him right there and charge him with federal crime. But they still charge him with federal crimes anyway. Uh, and that was funny. I had said the last time we had the panel that there were only two outcomes. It was either going to be uh, guilty or a hung jury. It was no way, with all that overwhelming evidence and testimony, that it would have been a not guilty. Plus the fact you had a couple of black people on the jury too. I just really couldn't see anything being not guilty on any of the charges.
have we heard? Is he going to appeal that ruling? I wonder, is he going to appeal it?
I'm sure he's going to try to appeal it. Well,
Because did
first he
he
got
get
to
a
get.
public defender, or did he actually pay for legal services out of his own pocket?
No, I don't think this was a public defender. This was a
Because usually public
real
defenders tell
lawyer.
you to take the plea, be like, okay, take this, and let.
Well, no, it wasn't no. I mean, he's probably gonna get some real time thrown at him. Maybe he thought that he could fight this, and it was funny that maybe he didn't expect that the prosecutors were gonna be two defense lawyers that they did the case for free. That's how much that shows how much confidence that Keith Ellison had in the prosecutors in the city. He didn't trust them. So he brought in these two guys to prosecute the case. And, wow, it was like I watched bits of it every day. And it was like you had to watch George Floyd die every day. while he was sitting in
See, I
that court.
refused to watch it because that's what I couldn't take. I'm like, my psyche could not take watching him get choked every single. I'm like, no, I'm not going to. I was, I was happy for the verdict because true justice would have been George Floyd wouldn't have died in the first place. That would have been true justice. But if it had to happen in this manner, I was shocked because I've looked at other cases where clearly the police brutalized a black person and they just got off scot free. I'm like, this isn't going to be different. And when that guilty verdict came down, I was like, okay, I've lived to see it. I've
Well,
lived to see a police officer go to jail for something that they did.
they threw him under the bus. I mean, his own people, his own co-workers are testifying against him. And even all he had was this one medical examiner that's saying, well, maybe George died from the carbon monoxide from the exhaust on the vehicle, and now all his cases are being reviewed to see, the results. And yeah, it was a little minor victory. It wasn't really justice. It was making somebody being accountable. But now you just got this one snapshot of a picture of justice and to put in an album of full of snapshot pictures of injustice, because there's a lot of people that uh, come up dead uh, or wrongfully in prison, and it's like justice it doesn't balance. It just swings one way for pretty much for poor people. When you walk in that courtroom, you're not presumed innocent, because you're not privileged. You're presumed guilty, and you got to pretty much prove that you're innocent. But uh, I mean, Chauvin, he just got caught on video. If there wasn't no video, we wouldn't even be having this conversation now.
Well, I know you're a little bit older than I am, but Rodney King was on video, and the
And
LA jury said not guilty.
yeah, but they didn't kill Rodney
They
King.
did not kill him.
Okay, they killed this guy, murdered this guy. I mean, it was no reason for you to be on this guy's neck for 9 minutes. they, they couldn't come up with anything to substantiate that, and I see what happens to the other three guys
I
that were
expect them to
there.
plead. I think they're going to plead. One of them is going to plead guilty.
But this guy needs to, these two defense lawyers, they should be partisan prosecutors and traveling across the United States when they have racial
You
issues
know,
with the police department.
they would have
They
to be licensed in each of those states. There's no one. They would have to go to each of those states and do the bars
no
individually.
problem, I mean, that's the federal, one of the reforms in this George Floyd bill is to get independent investigators or independent prosecutors instead of using the prosecutors there. That's one. But this George Floyd bill would only compel capital federal police. They're asking the states to adopt it and saying, well, we'll give you federal funding if you go along with the reform issues in there.
And I
But
can name at least 13 states that's going to say no. And I
probably,
one of them.
and I agree with you. But uh, so then the then the federal government needs to be coming in and and charging these people at least with
Yep.
civil rights violation, which they did with George Floyd. I mean, not George. I'm sorry. With Chauvin,
And
they're
they
charging
also charge people in the Aubrey case. They are charged now.
with a hate crime. Yeah,
Yeah, they're
they're
charged
charged
for hate crime.
with a hate crime. Yeah.
I don't know how
So,
much prison terms it'll carry, but they are at least charged.
yeah, and that's both. That's Georgia. After Georgia's done with you, then the federal government can come in there and charge you also. That's what happened with Michael Slager when he killed Walter Scott, shot him in the back, the police. And he got off, I think, with a hung jury in the state, but he was convicted in federal, and he's still in jail. So
Yep.
we'll see. The when you make a law, like I said before, it's stupid to make a law, a waste of time if you don't put no teeth into it. If you're not going to back up a law, then don't make the law. Don't waste people's time. You make a law, then you have to set penalties because everybody's not going to comply with that law. So what are you willing to do? Up to what? If you aren't going to do anything, then it's a waste of law, like over the mask. You know, why make a law if you aren't going to arrest the people, if you aren't going to maybe start shooting people? Uh, it's just a waste of time. That's what Martin Luther King accused the government of, not sticking up to their promise on the Civil Rights and the Voting Right Act. He accused the government of not keeping their promise. So, like I say, I don't trust our government. I really don't. Like I say, they're a S-hole government.
And
Okay.
thank you for saying asshole.
So,
The last thing of the week, of course, is my favorite time of the show is to pick the idiot of the week. You may go first.
well, mine was Tim Scott. When he got up there and made that speech about America not being racist, and I'm just thinking, you saying one thing and then contradicting just what you said, and you just look like you're just a special stupid. Okay, you're just especially stupid. So that's my idiot of the
Well,
week.
my idiot of the week actually goes back a couple weeks because I was sick and I could not suggest this person, but she still gets it. Nancy Pelosi thanking George Floyd for dying.
I agree with that one.
Oh
That was
my
gonna be
goodness, is
mine.
she
That
serious?
was gonna be mine last week, but we didn't have a
Yeah,
panel.
we didn't
Yeah.
have a panel last week because I was like, nope, I'm gonna say this one because I was like, I wanted to believe I thought that I knew where she was going, but she went. I was just like, she did she just thank him for dying? Did she just thank him for dying?
For making the ultimate
I'm
sacrifice,
like, no, she didn't.
like he
And then
had a
I kept
choice.
playing it because I was like, there's no way she said this. Yes,
Yes,
she
she
did.
did.
So Nancy Pelosi for thanking George Floyd for dying. She's my idiot of the week, and by far, she's probably gonna be in that idiot of the year countdown because I'm like, I cannot believe she did that. I'm like, girl, sit down somewhere. That was surely gonna be mine last week, but couldn't do it because I was sick last week. But I definitely thank you for your time in audience. Thank you for watching. Again, tune in on Fridays. Remember to like, share, subscribe. comment, and please support us on Patreon. Have a fantastic day. Thanks, Charles, for joining me. Bye-bye.
All right. You have a good evening.
You too. Thank you.
Bye.